Hey, what you reading for?
Comfort foods, they don't necessarily provide us with the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals our bodies need, but they do provide us with a sense of well-being, of familiarity, and, of course, comfort. Me, I don't have any foods I would consider comfort foods. I'm a terrible cook. And I live alone, so I eat what I make myself. And my meals are generally preceded by a crippling sense of dread that culminates in a confrontation with my failures. Then the heavy weight of shame, like a cinder block in my stomach. So I don't associate food or eating with comfort, quite the contrary. But I do get what the expression comfort food is going for. There are books that might not be the greatest works of literature. They might not be psychologically or emotionally challenging, but they do provide us with a sense of well-being, of familiarity, and of course, comfort. And in this video, I want to talk about a few authors who do that for me. I know that this channel is usually a highbrow literary / horror channel, but every once in a while, you know, the brow needs to come down. That's just gravity. So thank you for clicking on this video, giving this channel a look. If you like the content, I hope you'll hit the like button, help out the algorithm. You can help out the channel and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support is greatly appreciated. We'll skip the intro sequence, and just like sitting down to a home-cooked meal I've prepared, we'll cross our fingers and dive into the horror. When I think of comfort food of books, the first name that immediately pops into mind is Ira Levin. Rosemary's Baby, The Stepford Wives, The Boys from Brazil. His books are relatively short. They are tightly paced with a good dose of camp. He's not going to win any literary awards, although his first book, A Kiss Before Dying, did win the prestigious Edgar Award for first novel in a mystery or suspense. Although even that book is quite a tongue-in-cheek, super silly, fun read. I had a blast with it, just like many of his creations that would follow. His books individually have all the characteristics that for me constitute a comfort food of books. However, he only gave us 7 novels. Lots of plays, but only 7 novels. Incidentally, I'll invite you to check out my video where I rank all of Ira Levin's novels. It's one of the first videos I made for this channel. I was so young back then, wide-eyed and hopeful. An innocent booktube newbie. You almost can't see the cynicism. Almost. So with only 7 novels, I don't think Ira Levin is the best example of comfort food for books. For me, when it comes to comfort books, I don't want scarcity. I don't associate comfort with scarcity. However, there is an author that I discovered only last year, an author I feel shares a lot in common with Ira Levin, and he is crazy prolific, and that author is Andrew Niederman. And for me, Andrew Niederman is the perfect example of what I mean by comfort food of books. Andrew Niederman's first book came out in 1967, but it wouldn't be until his 4th book in 1981 called Pin where his career would really take off. Pin was given a movie adaptation in 1988. A movie adaptation I think is quite good, actually, for what it is, a camp Canadian horror thriller. He is still writing. His most recent book came out in 2022, so that's a 55-year career and counting, during which he put out a staggering 47 books, 47 novels. And that's not counting all the novels he put out under the name V.C. Andrews. Because when V.C. Andrews passed away in 1986, Andrew Niederman took over ghostwriting for her estate. And he has, to date, according to my count, the books that he has put out under the name V.C. Andrews had up to 100. He's written 100 books under the name V.C. Andrews, including and on top of that, the 47 he put out under his own name. So there's not much of a risk of me running out of Andrew Niederman reading options, which in itself is comforting. Like Ira Levin, Andrew Niederman's books are relatively short. They are tightly paced and with a generous dose of camp. However, whereas Ira Levin would use science fiction and technology to create tension and conflict, sometimes the supernatural as well, Andrew Niederman tends to prefer psychology, notably behavioral psychology, and also occasionally supernatural. The staples of an Andrew Niederman novel: we have an easy to follow oversimplification of psychology concepts that are abused by an over-the-top narcissistic character, generally an authority figure. We have children in danger. Sometimes children are the danger. We have a limited sphere of influence where the evil or the threat operates. It's generally a domestic setting, a house in the suburbs, or a housing development in the suburbs. The seemingly perfect U.S. family falls prey to some manipulative force, psychology, or some supernatural force. They surrender their agency. They are made to do bad things. They are made to kill. But it's not their fault. They're victims too. His books are light on gore, light on violence, compared to other horror writers, preferring psychological manipulation rather than brute force. Some of his biggest hits, I mentioned earlier, Pin. He also wrote The Devil's Advocate, which was also made into a successful movie. Brainchild, Child's Play, Sister, Sister, Teacher's Pet. Recently, I was in the mood for a comfort read, so I picked up an Andrew Niederman book, basically at random. I read Perfect Little Angels from 1989. And it was exactly what I expected it to be. It was exactly what I was hoping it would be. A megalomaniacal psychologist builds a housing development, like a gated community. And he is a respected psychologist or psychiatrist / dietitian. And he welcomes the new residents with a care package, which contains his famous vitamin supplements. The residents take these supplements and they love, they feel great. They love Elysium Fields. They can't remember what life was like before Elysium Fields. And with the help of these supplements and other manipulation techniques, the parents become the psychologist's ideal of what good parents should be. And the children become the psychologist's ideal of what good children should be. Everyone is happy. what could possibly go wrong? A new family moves into Elysian Fields. They have a teenage daughter, and she suspects that something might be a bit off with this gated community. I mean, the children, they all act the same. The parents, they all act the same, and everybody is acting kind of weird. I got very strong Stepford Wives vibes from this book. Now, I absolutely love the Stepford Wives, so I was very happy with the similarities. I was very happy with the tone, with the vibe I got from this book. I read it in 2 days. I had a blast with it. I think it is an excellent example of what I call comfort food of books. It's probably not a good idea to binge on comfort food or to binge read comfort food books. Better to just read one every once in a while when the mood hits. However, after finishing Perfect Little Angels, I went immediately to another Andrew Niederman book. I double dipped.
You dip the way you want to dip. I'll dip the way I want to dip.
I double dipped. I read Blood Child from 1990. Blood Child starts off with an opening that is very similar to the opening of The Omen. We have a couple. The wife has just given birth to their first child. The child does not survive the delivery. The wife is crushed because she feared that this was her last chance to have a child. And while the couple are at the hospital, the husband is approached by one of the hospital workers who tells him that, as luck would have it, while his child died, a teenager gave birth to a healthy baby boy. And the teenager, she does not want to keep the child, so the couple, they can take the child as their own. There is one stipulation, however, and the teenager insists that the couple who adopts the child, she insists that the child be breastfed. Breastfeeding is the best way to raise a child, according to this teenager, who we never meet. And that's the only stipulation. But the couple, as it turns out, they were very interested, or the woman, the mother, she was very keen on breastfeeding her child. So it's perfect. What a coincidence. Everything works out. So the book starts off as an odd, The Fear of Breastfeeding tale, written by a man who is quite camp in his storytelling. So it's quite silly, but fun and interesting in a way. And then about halfway through the book, it just devolves into a standard vampire story. I don't really care much for vampires, so I didn't really love the direction this book took, and I ended up not really loving Blood Child. But if you like vampires and you like your books with a good dose of camp, there's a chance that you would like Blood Child a bit more than I did. I've read 4 Andrew Niederman books, and I'd say from least favorite to favorite, we have Blood Child, then Child's Play, which is about a megalomaniacal man who convinces his wife that they should adopt, or that they should be foster parents to a teenager. So they take in this teenager, and then the husband, he takes in a second, he takes in a third, and pretty soon he has his own little cult of teenage foster kids. And he convinces them to do terrible things to prove their devotion, loyalty to him. Then I put Perfect Little Strangers, and as my favorite thus far, I would say it'd be the first one I read from him, which was Brainchild from, I want to say, 1981, which is about a gifted 16-year-old girl who has a passion for psychology, a passion for behavioral psychology. And she discovers that she has the perfect lab conditions right in her own home, and she has the perfect test subjects in her own family. So she goes about conducting experiments on her family to test out her theories. For the time being, I think I've had my dose of comfort food books, but when the urge strikes me again, I have over 140 Andrew Niederman books / B.C. Andrews books to choose from. Have you had any experience with this author? What do you think my 5th Andrew Niederman book should be? What is your idea of comfort food of books? Is there an author that you think of when you think of comfort books? Have you read my latest book, Oedipus Complex, yet? Does the idea of a mentally disturbed man engaging in murderous sexual relationship with a residential building sound comforting to you? If so, I think you might enjoy Oedipus Complex. Oedipus Complex, redefining what is meant by homesick. Link in the description box below. I always look forward to connecting with you in the comment section. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next video.